Okay, let's dive into this incredible stack of sources you've sent our way.
Yeah, it's quite some.
We're talking mysterious scrolls found in old schools, cryptic letters, these wild text messages about competitions.
And don't forget the anonymous insider report. That adds a whole other layer.
Right. It feels like we're stepping into a world that's, well, part mystery, part performance art, maybe, and part something else.
It's certainly a unique collection. All signs point to this underground organization.
With a name you won't forget.
Definitely not Penis Perks Plus, or PGP, as they seem to call themselves internally sometimes.
And for this deep dive, we're really focusing on pulling back the curtain on the mystery surrounding them.
Exactly. What drives them, their, let's say, unconventional motives.
And who are these people? We want to get a sense of the members, especially the new leaders mentioned in these emails, the letter, that insider doc, and those texts.
Right. It's easy to just focus on the humor, the absurdity of it all, which is definitely there.
Oh, absolutely.
But our mission here is to look a bit deeper. Let's figure out what PPP actually is, understand the purpose, maybe, behind the penis-related stuff.
And meet some of the individuals involved.
Sufficely.
Okay, so let's start right there. Based on these sources, what is Penis Perks Plus? The insider report kicks things off, confirming it's real.
Yeah, but with that intriguing qualifier, mostly.
Mostly real. Which just makes it weirder, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
But the report is pretty clear otherwise. It calls it an elite, uh, highly discreet underground organization.
And not just the secret society.
No, they use the word movement, which suggests something bigger, maybe more ideological.
A movement with a past, too, it seems. The sources mention it operated under other names.
Yeah.
Equally memorable names.
Right. Team Tuck, Shrink Think, the Little League Underground.
Wow. And now Penis Perks Plus.
Leading up to the current iteration.
Yeah.
And how you might actually find this movement sounds, well, dramatic.
Like out of a movie or something. Finding scrolls in abandoned buildings.
Exactly. Or getting strange letters, seeing stickers on bathroom mirrors, these mysterious invitations. It feels very staged, very theatrical.
Okay, but there's a practical side, too. A lot of the initial contact seems to funnel through one specific channel.
Yeah, that email address pops up repeatedly, pem1sperksplus@gmail.com.
Used for initiation, secure comms. It seems pretty central.
And the insider report. It gives us a peek at their structure, at least part of it.
What did it mention?
An executive council, a supreme coordinator, and specific roles, like an executive liaison named General Coxworth.
General Coxworth, okay.
There are also field agents like Cockweiler, the recruiters Jerry, or Edward Penishans.
Edward Penishans is quite a name.
Isn't it? And specialists, too, like naming experts who assign these club handles, and leaders for specific things, like the Grand Marshal of the Micro Champion Circle.
So it implies a whole hierarchy, even with the very colorful titles.
Yeah, it suggests something pretty organized beneath the absurdity.
Okay, so they exist, they're structured, finding them is like a weird scavenger hunt. But why?
The motive question.
Yeah, why does an organization with this name and this kind of recruitment even exist? The sources hint it's not just random.
No, and that's where it gets really interesting. The stated principles are actually quite, well, deliberate.
Like what?
Things like unabashed humor, fearless self-acceptance, and celebrating what they call the magnificently modest.
Magnificently modest. I like that. And the insider report suggests this whole thing started as a kind of pushback.
Exactly. A tongue-in-cheek response to what they perceive as toxic bravado in hyper-masculine culture.
So they're taking this sensitive topic, size,
Yes, something often kept secret or seen as shameful.
and just flipping the script completely.
Totally. They're reframing it, saying it's a source of power, of presence. The core idea seems to be that confidence isn't measured in inches, or it shouldn't be.
It's about standing tall, regardless.
Precisely. Their mottos really drive that home.
Stand tall no matter how small.
With great smallness comes great leadership.
And, size is relative. Legacy is eternal.
It's a consistent message you see threaded through the material.
And this Edward Penishans guy, the recruiter, he hints there's more to it.
Yeah, in his texts, he says it's more than the name or the games. He definitely positions it as having a deeper purpose beneath the surface layer of, well, penis jokes.
But if it's about self-acceptance and confidence, why be so secret? Why underground?
Edward gives a pretty bold answer to that. He says, quote, "They don't want us to exist."
They. Who's they?
He points fingers at government eyes, cultural censors, corporate interests. says they've tried to shut them down.
Why would they care about a group like this?
His reasoning is interesting. He claims it's because, and this is another quote, confidence real, unapologetic confidence scares people when it doesn't look the way they expect.
So it's about challenging norms, what confidence is supposed to look like.
That seems to be the core argument presented. They're not trying to fit in. They're deliberately being different, and they believe that frightens the establishment.
That's actually a pretty powerful idea hidden in all this strangeness.
It is. And their method for spreading influence reflects that secrecy. Edward describes it as quiet, state by state.
Through whispers, posters, stickers, finding those scrolls.
Yeah. We are everywhere, he says. It's very grassroots, very under the radar.
Which brings us to the people involved, particularly the new leaders. How did they get chosen?
Well, the documents say leaders aren't really recruited in the usual way. They're chosen.
Chosen how?
By finding one of those scrolls. It's framed like fulfilling a prophecy or something.
Okay, prophecy. And that leads us to Nathan Clark.
Yes. One of the main text threads we have is apparently his initiation. He's seemingly selected for a smallest penis competition.
A competition, get this. The prize is a $20 Visa gift card.
Yep. And it's framed like a reality TV show with 50 saddest, smallest men competing in penis-related challenges. At the old Sabine High School in Many, Louisiana, according to the text, I mean, it sounds completely outlandish.
But presented as real within the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Nathan's reaction is just gold.
He thinks his chances are good?
He texts back his odds are pretty high because he's pretty small, even adorable.
And jokes about his truck.
Yeah, about showing up at a lifted truck. He clearly gets the humor, leads right into it.
And the recruiter texting him, that's Jerry. Or Edward Penishans.
Both, apparently. He introduces himself as Jerry, but says his club name is Edward Penishans.
Does he explain the name?
He does. He texts something like the size that was supposed to go to my penis went to my fingers, followed by a winking emoji.
Okay.
And he also mentions he's the former head recruiter and he's retiring. Passing the torch, essentially.
And Nathan gets his own club name right away from the naming expert.
Instantly. They assign him No Shaft Nathan.
And he liked it.
Loved it, according to the text.
Then Nathan brings someone else in, Daniel Craig.
Right. Daniel texts the recruiter asking about the competition. And the recruiter asks Daniel for a picture.
A picture to, what, confirm eligibility?
To gauge eligibility, yes. And the recruiter's response after seeing it is, well, it's blunt.
What did they say?
Quite monstrous. Scarily embarrassing.
Wow. Okay, so they really are looking for smaller size. It's not just a joke.
It seems genuinely part of the criteria, reinforcing that core principle of celebrating, well, smallness.
And Daniel gets offered the chance to team up with Nathan.
Exactly. Which turns out to be a pretty big deal.
How so?
Edward Penishans sends his final message, kind of a handover message, to Nathan and Daniel.
What does he say?
He tells them they're the youngest duo ever to take on leadership. And crucially, the first pair to be chosen by a scroll together.
Together, so the scroll picks both of them.
That's the implication. Edward says he saw their bond early on, the curiosity, the laughter, the shared strangeness.
He saw something in them.
Yeah. And his parting advice is surprisingly, heartfelt, considering the context.
What kind of advice?
Meet each other. Trust the strange. Lean into the awkward. Lead with mischief and meaning.
Mischief and meaning. That sums it up pretty well.
Right. And he adds this kicker. I saw you long before you found the letter. Reinforces that whole destiny prophecy angle.
Okay, so we've met the new leaders. What about the actual activities? What does PPP do?
Well, the sources mention underground gatherings, these ironic challenges.
And those specific event names.
Yeah, the stealth showdown, the subtle swordplay games.
Yeah.
And that prestigious one, the Micro Champion Circle.
The names suggest subtlety, cleverness, not brute force.
Exactly. It seems to fit the philosophy. Maybe contests where size is irrelevant, or even an advantage in some weird way, reframing things again.
And the texts give a little flavor of their communication style.
Just glimpses. Very short, direct, playing on the theme. Like, ready, your
Your car.
We're here. Simple, evocative, a bit playful.
And when Nathan gets welcomed, he's promised actual resources.
Yes. Full access to the member registry, the Challenge Blueprint Archive, and something called the Micro Manual.
So it's not just chaos. There's structure, history, documented activities, guidelines.
It implies a pretty established system beneath the surface absurdity.
Okay, so we've unpacked the mystery, the motives, the members. Why should you, listening right now, care about Penis Perks Plus. What's the takeaway from this deep dive?
Well, I think this material is just a fascinating look at how humor and absurdity can be used
Used for what?
as tools, really powerful tools to challenge societal norms, especially around really sensitive topics like masculinity, body image, confidence.
It shows people building community in unexpected ways.
Totally. Finding empowerment by taking something society often labels negatively.
And turning it into a source of pride, connection, even leadership.
Exactly. It really makes you think about what confidence even looks like when it doesn't follow the usual script.
And what standing tall might mean when it's completely detached from physical stature.
Yeah. We've seen the mystery, the countercultural motives wrapped in humor, and met these unique individuals like Nathan and Daniel stepping up.
So the final thought, maybe. In a world that's constantly telling us what size or shape or form power and confidence should take.
Right. What can we actually learn from a group that finds its strength, its purpose in being unapologetically, well, concentrated?
It may be. What other hidden movements, what unconventional communities with their own weird rules and maybe surprisingly deep meanings are out there just beneath the surface?